Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to Divine Allegiance. I'm your host, Maulana Baig. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic, useful knowledge. We all know that knowledge is useful. We have hadith regarding knowledge and the seeking of knowledge. It is said, Utlubul ilm min al-mahdi ila al-lahad. Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. And also seek knowledge even if you have to go to China. Or every Muslim man and woman, it is incumbent on them to seek knowledge. Many hadiths have emphasized knowledge, and so we know that knowledge is useful. But that's not our topic. Our topic is useful knowledge. And by that title, you understand that there might be knowledge that is not useful. Or the question is raised, when is knowledge useful? So we have this line from the Prophet who said, Allahumma a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa. Allah, I seek refuge in you from knowledge that's not useful. So from here we understand that there is knowledge that's not useful. And there is knowledge that is useful. I want to get into what is useful knowledge and how does knowledge become useful. So let me go ahead and start with a saying from Imam Ali alayhi salam. In this saying, Imam Ali is speaking about good people, pious people, people that Allah loves, people who obey Allah, people whose characters are good and who submit to Allah. So regarding them, Imam Ali gives a quality that they have. And he says, وَقَفُوا أَسْمَاءُهُمْ عَلَى الْإِلْمِ النَّافِعِ لَهُمْ. He says that they dedicated their ears to useful knowledge, to knowledge that is useful for them. Meaning they only go after knowledge that is useful for them. Waqafu means to stop at something, meaning that to dedicate yourself. It's like waqf for a masjid. When you do waqf for a masjid, it means that you dedicated this thing for the masjid. It cannot be used for anything else. So Imam Ali says that these people, the pious people, are the ones who have dedicated their ears and their listening to useful knowledge. Meaning wherever there's useful knowledge, they go and they get that. They have dedicated themselves for that. So based on that, let's talk about useful knowledge. And knowledge is useful because of two things, from two points of view. Look at knowledge, any knowledge, you will see that it's useful when two things are in it. The first thing regarding knowledge is that it should be relevant. It should be pertinent, something that's useful, applicable for you. If it's not applicable, if there's no usage of it in any field, then obviously that knowledge will not be useful. And hence the first thing is that it should be applicable to your life, to something. For example, if I tell you that go ahead and do research on how many light bulbs you have in your house. Go around, count all the light bulbs in your house. And so you're like, okay, fine, I can do that. I can start to count all the light bulbs, but why? What's the use for it? Nothing. You're in quarantine anyway, so you have enough time. Just go and do it. You'll be like, but what's the use of this? Being alone in the house has made me lonely, not stupid. So obviously you don't learn those type of things because it's not applicable in your life. It's not relevant in your life. So the first thing that we look at in knowledge is that it should be relevant. That's the first thing. The second thing, and this is where we want to get into, and I really want to get into that. The second thing that makes knowledge useful is when knowledge has spiritual impact, spiritual influence. Meaning that gaining knowledge that becomes or that influences us to spirituality. Now, you might not be understanding what I'm saying right now, but you will in a minute. Because what you might be thinking is that, oh, I'm saying that we need to learn Islamic knowledge or knowledge about Allah. No, that's not what it means. What it means is that when knowledge is gained and really gained, then that knowledge itself will take you to a place where you will be impacted and influenced spiritually. Meaning that you will see that it's going to create a revolution in you. Is going to create an influence in you whereby you look at things differently, see things differently, and accept and acknowledge things differently. This is when a person learns something to an extent that within the scope of the knowledge that he's learning, he starts to see that there is an order, that there is a system. Anything, when you are learning it and you learn it to the extent that you see, that you start seeing it, you will start seeing that there is a methodology behind this. There is a system here in place. There is an order. At first, you didn't know that when you were learning. But when you drown yourself into it, then you have that authority on that knowledge. And when you become an authority in any field, then you start seeing that system. And then you start appreciating order. Not just in the field that you know, but anywhere that you find. This is when that knowledge starts having a spiritual impact on you. Experts, people who are authority in any field, when you hear them speak, you will see that they are different. When you see their take, you see that it's different. And when you see that they have that expertise on a subject, then those people, they start to see a system within that knowledge. And they can recognize boundaries. They can recognize definitions. They can define things. When they speak, it actually makes sense. Or at least you know that when they speak, they're giving an expert opinion. It's the difference between Fauci and Trump. When you hear one of them, you actually can trust what is being said because you have someone who knows what he's talking about, has drowned in that subject. And on the other hand, you have the clown that was shot from the cannon. You have no clue what he's saying. And you don't trust it also. This is the difference. When someone actually goes into a subject and rounds in it and becomes an authority on that subject, then that person recognizes boundaries, recognizes order. And this leads him to become someone who is better able to submit to truth when he sees it. He can see reality and he can see the truth and he can submit to the truth. Laymen cannot do that. And you will see that. Let me give an example first, and then we'll move forward from there. And the example I give is from the Quran. Allah gives this example in the Quran regarding Musa. Prophet Musa was summoned to the court of Pharaoh and was challenged by the magicians, by Pharaoh. And Pharaoh staged the competition to see whose magic is stronger, because they thought what Musa had was magic. So he brought all the magicians, the experts, the authority in magic on one side, and Musa on the other side, and an audience of the court and the people watching. And in that, as is the story that Allah speaks about in the Quran, when the magicians threw down whatever magic they had, their ropes that they had, the rope started to move around. And then when Musa threw his staff, the staff became a snake and ate the other ropes. Now, when that happened, the people, the laymen, they were like, wow, Musa's magic is better than theirs. The magicians. But the magicians, they saw something else. As soon as they saw that, they went into sajda, into prostration, and said that we believe in the God of Musa. What made them believe? When someone, because these people were experts at what they do. They knew what magic is and what is not. They knew the borders and boundaries of magic. When they see something, they know that this is magic and this is not magic. When they saw what Musa did, they recognized that this is not human. This is beyond that. They knew that. And they accepted. They submitted to the truth. Why? Because knowledge of magic, knowledge, they had drowned in such knowledge of that they knew there is an order. There is boundaries. And hence they recognize. So this, my friend, is when knowledge becomes spiritual. It leads to spirituality, has that influence in us to become spiritual. And this is any knowledge. Allah gives the example of magic. Any knowledge. It doesn't have to be, for example, one knowledge or the other. Any knowledge that you start learning, that knowledge will become useful for you when it starts having a spiritual influence on you. And it only has it when you actually drown yourself and become such an expert and authority on that subject that you start seeing order, that you start appreciating order within the knowledge that you're learning. This is useful knowledge that we want to talk about. And people who possess that, then you see they are different than people who are just learning or just starting off or on the way to become experts. They still don't know. And then you will see that the answer and the way that they look at things is going to be different. So useful knowledge, my friends, let's go forward. People who possess this knowledge, they have certain qualities in them. Let me read the qualities for you. The first quality that they have is that anyone who is an expert on one knowledge, he is ready to accept new knowledge. Yes, when he sees new knowledge, he's ready to acknowledge it, learn it, and accept it. People who don't know, they're ready to oppose it and reject it. And you will see that in them. Right away, they'll be like, no. Why? Why should I accept it? Because they really, of the fact that they don't appreciate that when someone else is talking, they don't see how they can just accept it without them being looked down at or being insulted. This is because the people who are experts recognize that there's a structure, there's an order. They are deep and accurate in assessing things. This is the second point. That people who have such knowledge, when they assess things and analyze things, they are deep. They look at it carefully. They go deep into it. Anything new. For example, if you tell a layman something, you will see that right away these people are defensive. But when you tell an expert something, you see that they start to think. In anything, experts in anything. I just remembered an example. Tell you this example. In my debates with the Christians, there was one person amongst them who was actually learned about Christianity. He had gone to seminary, he had learned, and he used to be from the Christian side defending Christianity. And whenever I used to give any Islamic idea or pose any Islamic idea, the others will be ready to oppose it, and they will be throwing out verses of the Bible one after another. They'll do that. But this one person who's actually learned would look at my point of view and would listen and would see how it works. What are you trying to say? Really, he wanted to understand. You see, and that's where you can appreciate someone who actually knows. Because they really want to think deeply. They just don't want to oppose it. We don't agree with it. We don't believe in that. So that's why we have to disagree with you. This is not the way. People who are learned, they always assess things and analyze things accurately and deeply. That is the second thing. They don't have a simplistic or basic view on it. Just simplistic view. I said, my tunnel vision view is this. I don't accept it. Number 3, the third quality that they have is that they give themselves the right to be wrong. Anyone who's learned and that knowledge has become spiritual for him gives himself the right to be wrong. Yes, I could be wrong. Yes, I could be wrong on this. Why? Because he knows that when you actually learn something or when you are trying to understand something, there is a lot of things that go and a lot of factors that go into it. It's not just a black and white answer. There's many shades of gray and many shades of things that come in between. And hence, they always give themselves the right to be wrong, and they will talk like that, and they will approach knowledge like that. Number 4, the fourth quality they have, people who are knowledgeable do not make bold claims. They don't make bold claims. They don't say, I'm the best at this. I'm the expert on this. No one is like me. No one knows this better than me. This is a sign of an ignorant person. The sign of people who are knowledgeable and are reached that stage is the fact that they will always be careful in what they say and will never make bold claims about themselves or what they're saying. They will be very careful when they put it out there. And with caution, they will put it out there. And they will see how that thing is weighed in the best possible manner. And the next quality is that they do not oppose what they don't know. We have hadith regarding this. He says, An-nas a'da'um ma jahilu. People are enemies of what they don't know. They oppose what they don't know. And now these people, these knowledgeable people, the people who are experts and authorities on different subjects, these people are not that. They don't fall into that category. There are people who don't oppose that. If you tell them something, they will not oppose it. They will look at it, they will see it, they will analyze it, they will assess it, and they'll be careful about it because to them it's knowledge and they appreciate knowledge. Next thing, they accept the ideas of other scholars. When another scholar of any other field gives them an idea and they recognize that he's a scholar, they accept that idea of theirs. They will not be arguing with them. How do you know? I don't trust these people. If you go to a doctor, for example, if the doctor says something, well, I don't trust your opinion, For what? He's the expert in that field. Just take it. But people who are learned, when someone who is learned in another field tells them something, they will accept it. They will accept it because I'm not the expert in your field. So whatever you're saying, I'm accepting it. Because they know that when someone becomes an expert, they know what they have to go through to get there. So when the person reaches the stage and has those qualities, then what happens? He accepts the hidden realities of the universe. He starts humbling himself. He has humility. He truly submits. When he sees reality, he submits to it. He looks at this world differently. He looks at the world, and this is not about some knowledge. It could be any type of knowledge. Whenever he reaches that stage where he is an expert at it, you will see it's going to be different. That's why Allah says this in the Quran. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. That only the people, only those servants of Allah are fearful of Allah who are knowledgeable. Only those servants who are knowledgeable, ulama, not ulama of deen only, ulama of anything. When they become an authority in their field, you will see that they are different, their view is different. It's easier to talk to them. You could be an engineer, the best engineer. You are an expert in engineering or an expert architect or any subject, take for that matter. If you become that drowned in that knowledge of that subject, you will become spiritual. It has a spiritual impact on you. This is useful knowledge. Knowledge that is basic, really, it doesn't get you anywhere. Bachelor's degree is not going to give you that spirituality. It's going to give you a degree that you can hang on your wall, but it won't give you spirituality. In order to get there, you need to become the expert on that subject. Then you'll start seeing what it means. Then that thing comes about you. It has nothing to do with Islamic knowledge. Islamic knowledge is the same thing. You see that those people who just go there to Hausa and just learn and come back, you see that they really lack that and then when you talk to people who are drowned in knowledge or really experts at it, you will see that their attitude is different. Their approach is different. When you meet an ayatollah or someone who's an expert at certain things, you will see that their approach is different. They don't just reject people, call them kafir, you're munafiq, you're this and that. No, it doesn't work like that. They are very careful in how they do things and say things and how they approach others. Why? Because they know what knowledge is. They know how the system works. They are drowned in the knowledge, and hence this is the view that they have. They have profound knowledge. They're immersed in knowledge, not just some superficial or shallow knowledge. And just imagine this, if Rasulullah makes a statement, if Rasulullah says something, who would have an easier job accepting? Who would be better off accepting what he says? The people who are drowned in knowledge or the people who are laymen? If he says something that is controversial or something that you don't accept or you haven't accepted, Even in the time of the Prophet, you see that the people who accepted the Prophet first, before Islam became the religion that everyone was accepting and became a fashion for everyone to accept, even before that, it was the people who were learned in Makkah, people who used to study and analyze things in Makkah, who accepted his message. There are a few of them. There are not a lot of them. But they are the ones who saw the depth, and they saw what he was saying, and they heard it, and they reasoned, analyzed it, and they accepted it. So many people are there. If you read history, you'll see that the first people to accept Islam were people who were actually learned, not the laymen. It was the people who were actually learned, those who accepted it. Yes, and then you had the slaves, that's different. The people who accepted it, who freely accepted it, were the people who were learned and who used to think and who were drowned in the knowledge that they had. People who have knowledge, they respect others who have knowledge. When Imam Ali was struck and he was in his deathbed and the poison was seeping in his body, Ahlul Bayt called the doctor. This is Imam Hassan is there, Imam Hussein is there. They are the most knowledgeable people ever. They called the doctor. And when the doctor came and he looked at Imam Ali and he saw Imam Ali and he prescribed what he needs to say, Ahlul Bayt followed what he said. Not that they accepted him, they accepted his knowledge. They respected his knowledge. People who have knowledge can respect other people's knowledge. People who have knowledge, they can respect other people. Imam Sajjad used to stand up for every student of Islam. A student, not even an alim. He used to stand up for them. Not because that student was handsome, but because of the knowledge that he was gaining. There's respect that people, that Ahlul Bayt and people who have knowledge have for knowledge that others have. Knowledge gives the ability, this type of knowledge is useful. It gives us the ability to decipher good from great. Not good from bad, good from great. This is what it does. People who are ignorant cannot appreciate knowledge and knowledgeable people. That's why the people of Kufa, when they heard and used to hear Imam Ali speak from the mimbar, yes, they saw how great his reasoning is and his knowledge is. And in response to that, they used to tell each other, Qatahullahu kafiran ma afqah. You know, this kafir has so much knowledge. May Allah kill him. Imagine that. The people there used to say that. Yeah, he has so much knowledge. Yeah, he's afqah. Look at how great his knowledge is. May Allah kill him. Why should Allah kill him for? The reason is they cannot really respect knowledge. The reason, my friends, that this happens, fast I will say this to you, is because when you go deep into knowledge and when you become an expert in knowledge, it means that you have been broken down by that knowledge many times. The knowledge has brought you to your knees. Because in order to become an expert, you are going through difficulties in order to learn it. And how many times you have come through dead ends and thinking, wow, what does it mean? How does it mean? And then you struggle to find out. And all of this breaking down has made you humble. And when that humility has entered you, now you're ready. You are prepared to find out the truth, to hear the truth, to accept the truth when you see it. People who don't have it, don't have it. Let me give an example. I went to Epcot Center in Orlando. People, for example, they base their things on scientists. Oh, scientists are this, scientists are that. There's no God because scientists say so. Well, you know what? First become a scientist and then make your statement. When we went to Epcot Center, it's an exhibition of science on different things. And every place that we went there, to that Epcot Center, you'll see that Every place where every research is done, they would display all the research they have done. And the last thing that they always said was that the knowledge that we don't know is far greater than what we know. They are humble because after researching and learning that, they have recognized, wow, we are nothing. We are nothing compared to knowledge. Knowledge is far greater than us. And hence, that is when knowledge becomes spiritual for us and takes us towards Allah. So when you want to learn something, learn it deeply, my friends. Learn it well. Become the expert in whatever field it is. And you will see that you will come to that realization and that spirituality. That is the end of time today. May Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for watching Divine Allegiance. We hope you like the show. If you like the show, please go on and hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel and share with your family and friends to spread the message. I'm your host Maulana Baig. Until next time, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.